Hello, good evening, and a very warm welcome to Rangers Radio.
Hello, and welcome to Rangers Radio's Tuesday night. Joined myself tonight is JM and young Robert. How we doing, boys?
Evening, GB. Evening, JM. Good to be back on with yourselves. A lot to talk about.
Yeah, evening, guys. Good to be back. Seems like a long time since the young team have been together.
I know, that's it. The boys are back in town, eh? And in the background, we've got our techie boys, Fox and Old School Blue, so they're going to be looking after us in the background there. Boys, it just seems to be every time that we have either Tuesday night or a Thursday night that things happen. There's exciting games and loads of Rangers talking points, and I think we'll probably start with the biggest talking point. We'll go with the Hibs game, and probably the biggest controversy was Michael Stewart and all his comments. I think the man needs a help. JM?
It was borderline embarrassing when it constantly in the first half. I mean, there's nothing worse when you've got a, let's say, an average game at best with the quality that was on show, to be honest. Then you've just got him droning on about every little decision constantly. It didn't make good listening or viewing, that was for sure.
That's it. And Robert, I mean, Rangers Radio is for anyone and everyone. And if Michael Stewart's needing some consoling tonight, he's more than welcome to phone in and make his points clear, mate. But I tell you something, I think we're having to point out some hard facts to the man because he's making himself look like a bite of cabbage.
Yeah, certainly did, mate. Spent ages talking about a decision that was made in a penalty box and one that wasn't done not in the park, and you're going round in circles. And certainly, if he does want to phone in, we're not the smartest, but we certainly are educational, mate. That's for sure.
Well said. Anyway, we'll put him to the one side since he's still greeting on his big pillar. JM, the game itself, Hibs. It wasn't the most exciting game. I did expect it to be a kind of hard fought game, considering our exploits on the Thursday. We'll talk about that later on, since we've got the game coming up on Thursday. But Hibs itself, I think it was just about getting the result. A few tasty moments in it. So just your thoughts overall, mate, of the game.
Yeah, listen, before a ball was kicked, we would have 100% have taken that result or any result to get into the next round. So the result's not an issue. I just think you're right with midweek and the squad being a little bit light suddenly again. I just think there was a few players out there that looked really tired. Just maybe lacked a few ideas, just couldn't quite get themselves in the game. But, you know, like good teams do, certain moments, and we saw the game out, didn't we? We never looked under any threat, to be honest, but just wasn't maybe the quality that we've got used to on the Clement. But I think we can put that down to a few tired legs and not having the depth of the squad we'd like.
Yeah, totally agree, Robert. I think they were looking a wee bit leggy in the game. Even our captain, obviously, with the penalty. It wasn't his cleanest penalty I've seen him take. But it was good that Lonnie was there just to kind of react to it and put the ball away. Again, I says it's hard for us to rest players now, considering we have got injuries in the background, mate, isn't it?
It is difficult to do the rotation, but I was quite surprised given the fact that he had rotated so much prior to that game, that he did name an untuned side, especially after the exploits in Europe, as you say. But we got the job done, albeit probably a helping hand from the referees at times, but some can be rightly so, some maybe not. But at the end of the day, we've got the squad depth there, and the players, although it looked leggy, they were able to see it through, and it is going to be a bit tough week for them. Obviously, the game on Thursday night again, but that's what happens when we get to these latter stages of all competitions, mate. It's not for everyone, but these players will thrive on it, and that extra 10% of the motivation probably got the players through that time Sunday, sorry.
Giant, and I think again shows character. I think the manager's starting to see a team here that's fighting for him, trying to carry out instructions as best as possible. I think that even the manager knows as well that Hibs is one of the kind of tough games to go away and play in, and it was just like I say, it's just good to see us could control the game most of it, I would say. I mean, Hibs had their moments and stuff, but I think overall it was Hibs that really lost the plot. And as we go into the second half, like I says, the red cards start coming out and stuff like that. For me, considering what we've had against us this season, I think the referee was right in his decisions. And that's no way that any of the blue-tinted glasses on. That's just being a total fan of football. And you're looking at these decisions that the ref made in the second half. I don't think anybody can really argue with him. The boy is that got his second yellow for his red was persistent foul, and I think he even tried to shove McCausland off the park as well while he was injured. So I think he kind of set it up for himself to get his second yellow. And then, like I says, the red card, the boy is clearly out of control. And I think they've even highlighted that it's it doesn't matter whether you catch the player, it's about being in control of your tackle. So he was clearly out of control. Your thoughts on the red cards, mate?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they can argue, especially for persistent fouling. For the guy, you've got to remember, it's also the bloke that gave away the penalty when Sterling was running on goal and potentially getting a shot. I mean, I know they say about double jeopardy if you're trying to play the ball, but I mean, the bloke wasn't trying to play a ball for a penalty, so that could have potentially been another booking. So if you like, he's been booked 3 times. So maybe not just for that one, but he was definitely due going off the park at some stage. And yeah, I know their manager came out afterwards and maybe sort of, I think he kind of basically accused Lundstram of play acting a little bit with how he reacted to the thing. But when you watch that highlight, anyone that knows it's played at any level knows that guy's gone in and lost his head and tried to hurt him. He hasn't caught him, but he's gone in to try and hurt him. This Montgomery's came out with eyes trying to stop the ball going down the line. That bloke only had one intention. He was lucky not to catch him. So it was definitely the right decision. Sorry.
No, I agree, mate. I think, like you say, he was going out to lay one on him. I think that was that. That was the kind of. I'm not saying he's going out to break legs, but he was going out to, like you say, hurt the player. Which again, out of control. Red card. Good night, Robert. Your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, particularly the straight red card, the one on Lundstram. That for me, it's the speed he's in it, and obviously you look at the still image, you see his 2 feet is off the ground. So any day now, that is a straight red card, and as you said, it doesn't matter if he's touched him or if he has contact. It's the intent, and it was obviously minutes after the first red card, so there was frustration, and he's went to take it out on a tackle on Lundstram. And thankfully, he's not actually hurt Lundstram, because I think if he did, it could have been a real nasty one. And again, another injury. It could have been to who could have been or could be our most important player so far this season in terms of since Clements came in, an impact that he's had in the midfield. So it could have been a real nasty one. The boy Obita that was sent off, again, as Jim said, it could have been sent off before he actually was given the red. I'll be honest, I thought the penalty was soft considering what is given these days, and what's not. But I thought it was quite soft in terms of a penalty. But you're going to take them all day long. But it certainly could have been sent off prior to the incident on Matondo. So they did lose their head, and as the fans were singing, Hibs were falling apart again.
I did. The songbook was The songbook was very well tuned at the weekend there, wasn't it?
Yeah, it always seems to be good there. But yet again, we always seem to win there now, don't we? And it always seems to be a bit of a bat at recent times anyway. So that ground seems to empty quick enough, and it just lets all the Bears have a party, doesn't it? It always seems good fun.
Maybe that's why there's an allocation fight now going on, because they don't enjoy us winning there. Maybe that's the reasoning behind that. No down to their own fans chucking objects onto the park, which again gets brushed under the carpet. And I don't know how many times that they've either attacked a player. I think even we had our captain attacked at that ground, and nothing was happened after that. No authorities coming forward saying that Hibs need to get themselves in check or anything like that. Nothing, just totally brushed to the carpet, Robert. And it seems to be all one-sided. Even if you go back to that time with the cup final when they all invaded the park and all that carry on, it was all just forgotten about. You imagine us chucking bottle openers and vapes and all the rest of it and jumping on a park and attacking a captain. Do you imagine the backlash that we'd all get as Rangers fans for that? Unbelievable. I can't believe it's so, like it says, two-faced and one-sided.
Absolutely, mate. If it was us, it would be on the front page, the back page, and you would never hear the end of it. It would be calls for games to be behind closed doors, fans getting banned from away grounds and everything else. And Hibs actually have the audacity today to turn around and say they're going to cut the away allocation as well because of supporter trouble from away fans. So again, they're pushing something towards mainly us, but other away fans to distance it from their own fans, when, as you say, they're the ones that are throwing items, whether it be lighters, vapes. I think it was a vodka bottle before, and then Tav obviously got attacked down that far column as well. So they need to look at their own, and certainly as players you want to be protected on the park, and sometimes you're not getting that from the referee, but certainly from the stands you don't want any fans or anything, and that includes our fans as well, to be throwing objects and anything that can bring trouble to the club. But if that's the way Hibs fans want to be, then do it if you want, but don't involve our club.
Just quickly, JM, as Robert touches on about obviously they're moaning about the allocation. The only good thing that can come out of that is that they'll end up killing their own self, starving themselves of income. So hopefully that backfires on them big time in the future.
They cut that allocation anymore. They'd only need to open up one stand, wouldn't they? That was an embarrassment, that crowd on Sunday, wasn't it? I know it's a cup game and obviously wouldn't normally typically come with a season ticket, maybe a few less, but so many empty seats there, wasn't there? I couldn't remember the attendance out of the top of my head, but it wasn't impressive. So you take whatever the 4,000 behind a goal away. There's nobody at that game for a cup quarter final. It's embarrassing. So I don't know how they're thinking, to be honest, and maybe it sums up Scottish football as a whole, but I can't see how that's a positive thing.
No. Robert, just back to the game. Obviously, we talked about the 2 red cards. After that, I honestly thought we'd go on and demolish Hibs a bit with the 2 extra players on the park. But it's my only one criticism of the game for Rangers is that we didn't seem to, I don't know, put them to the sword a wee bit more. I know it's the silver, we'll go into that, we'll get to the silver goal and stuff, but I did expect us to be a wee bit more clinical after that and show our class. Maybe the kind of engine was running empty a wee bit. Your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, it's probably fair to say that the game was done, and at that time it was 1-0. Hibs aren't going to threaten with 9 men, so they do enough to kind of see the game out, and obviously they get a second goal, as you say, eventually through Silva. But I think it was the way the game had played out into the 9 men that they were fine just to pass it about and not go in for the kill. As much as we'd like to see more goals, it was a game that it was done at 1-0, and 2-0 wasn't going to make a massive difference in terms of the result. So again, it was just ticking over. I think if it was a 0-0, you'd have seen them coming out firing with that. But I think, as I said, it's just enough to get the tie done in the dressing room and no more injuries.
Agree, mate. Agree. JM, just after the 2 red cards, mate, your thoughts? Were you surprised that we weren't more? We were in control. That's a bit probably unfair to say, but I just thought that the 2 extra players, that the quality we had still in the park, I thought that we would have probably ripped them open a wee bit more.
Yeah, I think it was. I think we looked tired, didn't we, if we're being honest? And if we're being honest, the quality, nothing, if we're being completely honest, nothing had clicked the whole game going forward. Nothing, if we're being completely honest. It wasn't a polished performance, but in regards to an attacking sense. But would have liked a few more, but Matondo just coming back from injury, probably might not have even been fit enough to really be on the pitch due to the number. The young guy, McGinnon, almost got a goal, but obviously was quite a bit offside. Ridvan had a couple of chances to possibly put Roofe in. Roofe looked a bit frustrated, but I think we were just happy enough we could see out the game and just hope nobody else could get hurt. But yeah, running a bit on empty, I think.
No, agreement. Right, good points, lads. It's going to be good to hear for our callers tonight, and like I said, we hope to hear their input on it, the 2 games, what their hopes are for this week. How they're feeling about certain talking points that's came into the press today about allocation for Dublin, possibly Liverpool and Rangers in a final. It's going to look as though it's going to cause a wee bit of headache for the governing bodies. So let's hear from you.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
That's it. Phone lines are open, so give us a call, 0141 356 1972. And if you're unable to phone in and you want to make a point, post it in the social media side of things. So we've got Twitter, we've got Facebook, and we've got YouTube. So that says if you want to post your question in there, the boys will pick it up and we'll make it a talking point on the show for you. All right. Lads, so we get the win. Great that we're through, and it seems as though, Robert, we've picked up another familiar team, which is Hearts in the semis.
Yep, who would have thought that? Again, seems like we're playing them probably more than most teams this season. Again, they were, I'd say, quite fortunate to get through last night against Morton, if I'm honest. Morton had quite a few good chances to actually win the game themselves, but I think a bit like the way we were leggy against the Hibs at the weekend, Morton were leggy last night. So again, it'll be a game where we're getting full of optimism and confidence, and although it's a month and a half away, it's certainly a big game to look forward to and another step closer to that treble or maybe more.
JM, happy with the draw, mate? I think it's a good one for the club to know, considering that the injuries, and hopefully, as Robert touches on there, a month down the line we've got some players back as well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Plenty, luckily being in another two competitions, we've got plenty to play for before it. But yeah, we've got a good record against them in the last couple of semi-finals at Hampden. Scott Wright probably first name on the team sheet for Hampden, and then we'll look forward to it. But plenty of football between now and then.
Right, you're getting reported to HR on the Scott, right? No way am I having that. Granted, right enough, I'll give you your due. He's definitely he definitely enjoys Hampden more than he enjoys Ibrox with the looks of it. Robert, obviously, like I says, we're there now, so we can part that. I've not really spoke to you since last week, so that's as if your thoughts on the Benfica game, mate, since we're kind of gearing up to this week's game. Were you surprised at the performance, and just your thoughts overall with that game, mate?
I thought it was a really good game of football from both sides, and I think we were very unfortunate not to come away with the win. I don't think MD could argue that it would have been deserved, because we were the team that looked like they were going to go and win it at stages. And again, the two goals we lost are disappointing. Obviously, the penalty, which I was surprised was given in Europe. I think if that's in the SPL, you expect it to be given. But in Europe, the rule of if you head the ball onto your hand, it's not a handball. But in this case, it was given. And obviously, the equaliser for them came from a bad judgment call from Goldson not to leave the ball for Butland, and he puts it in his own net. So disappointed in that sense, but I thought there was some real individual top performances. I thought Yilmaz had a great game against Di Maria. Although he's 36, the experience he's got, Yilmaz handled him very well, and Jack Butland in the first half particular made important saves at important times. And I think it's testament to where we are now and the expectation we have when we are in Europe, that we are disappointed with a draw against a team like Benfica. So overall, a good result. We're still in the tie, and we take it back to Ibrox on Thursday.
JM, your thoughts just on the game, and what I says, the kind of standout players, and I don't know, have you came away from it more confident than what you were in the first game?
They're just really pleased with how the team performed, and then obviously the result, because you read stuff on it, but you never know what these teams are going to be like until you play them. I thought we definitely, for the performance, we have nothing to fear going back to Ibrox. I'm confident that we might be able to get the result. Unfortunate of the goals, but I think if we're fair, even though we were in control for a lot of the game, we did defend quite deep. So eventually you're gonna maybe concede that chance, so you're gonna get a bad bit of luck with Goldson, because they've done so well defending the whole time. The same with Suter with the handball. For me, the stands out, I'd probably agree. I thought Yilmaz, considering the stage he was playing on and the composure he showed and how he defended, was really good. I thought you could tell Fabio Silva had a point to prove. I thought he was really good. And I thought to be honest, throughout the game, I thought he didn't have his best game Tav, but then I thought for the last 15 to 20 minutes was maybe the best I've seen Tavernier defend in a long time, if not ever. He cut out quite a few crosses at the back post and came in, so that impressed me for the last 10, 15 minutes as well.
I mean, just on the defence, like I says, I think it was frustrating that the 2 goals kind of came for our defenders, but and you look at it as a whole, as the defence throughout that game. I mean, Benfica did have big moments, and the defence held strong. So I think it's easy to criticise individual moments, but when you look at a player's contribution throughout the full 90, then I mean, Golson, Tav, Suter, and obviously Big Ridvan, like I says, they all contributed really well, and like I says, midfield as well, Diamonde and stuff like that, I think had another good game, and Big Sterling. I just hope that he's able to come back for maybe not this game, but the game at the weekend. He's definitely flourishing, Robert, and Sterling in this European setup. I think the manager's found a wee niche for him. I was surprised because the Motherwell game, he kind of looked as if the position wasn't really suited to him, and yet he turned up against Benfica and just looked like a world beater in that position.
It's what the European games do to a player, if you're honest, mate, that you see that they put in that extra effort. And as I said earlier, this is the stage of a season where they want to be part of these big games, and a European stage for a young player like Sterling is certainly where he can go and show his talent and his pedigree and what potential he's got. So he's not going to put in the effort, not put in the effort, if that makes sense. He's going to always give his 110% no matter what position he puts in. So we've seen that in midfield, right wing, definitely there's a park, even at left back one game. So he's versatile, and I think no matter what position Clement does put him in, he is going to give that effort, and that's all you can ask for. And he's certainly, that was his first professional goal, so he's going to take lots of confidence. But as you say, hopefully he's fit enough to play on Thursday, because he is a big player, and again it's that wide area, although he's not natural, that we're going to struggle with, I think, if we get any more injuries.
I agree, mate. Agree. Jim, your thoughts on how Sterling kind of handled that game? Let's face it, he is new to the kind of European scene, so I felt, I mean, I'm quite a cautious supporter at the best of times going into that game, but I came away from it really confident, considering how the players turned up and matched Benfica.
Yeah, no, I think Sterling's just proven every time that he's capable of playing at that level. Obviously, he's got a great head start, if you like, with his physique and his pace. You know, he's always going to be able to get himself out of trouble, but also on the ball, he's looking more and more comfortable every time he plays. He's getting used to it. Obviously, he showed a striker's instinct running in on the goal. He sort of came out of nowhere. So, yeah, hopefully he is fit, because he would 100% be a miss with his pace and power and height and everything that comes with it. So hopefully he's fit, because I think that's the only thing that maybe stopped us being a threat for the whole game on last Thursday. There was because obviously just not having that depth again. I think after an hour of the work the guys put in, it would have been great to be able to change maybe 3 of the front 4 and get a midfielder in, but we just didn't quite have the options. McCausland not quite being fit. Obviously bringing on McKinnon. If you imagine you could maybe have a fit Cantwell, Matondo and Seaman to bring on, it gives the other team something to worry about, doesn't it? Which maybe is just might hinder us a little bit, but we'll see who we've got available on Thursday.
Mm-hmm. Well, probably a pleasing thing for the weekend that might help us going into the game on Thursday is that Matondo is back. Granted, he was kind of put on the right, but again, I would imagine he can play out in that left for us, and hopefully we can move Silva about as well. I think even if he's Matondo's no starting, as Jim touches on, if you're bringing a player on at his pace, maybe 20-25 minutes to go against Benfica, they looked as though they had a lot of gaps at the back when they were going forward. So a player like that, I think, like Matondo with pace, could hurt them.
Absolutely, and I think he has obviously predominantly played on the left for us when he's been on, and I think certainly he probably could do a job on that right-hand side as well. He is right-footed, I think, mainly, so it's probably a position that he's not had a chance fully at the right wing. And Silva, again, he's got that kind of versatile look about him that he would play anywhere. And I thought, again, as Jim said, he had a very good game midweek, and so certainly it's pleasing to get a player like Matondo back, and also I would not be surprised, GB, if we see a Mr. Todd Cantwell named on the bench on Thursday night. Obviously, we'll find out more tomorrow at the press conference about who's available and who's not, but he did put a cryptic video up maybe a week or 10 days ago now about coming back soon, and this just may be the game that we see him back in the team sheet.
I think what I noticed about the Benfica game, Robert, is I'll just come back to you because you made the point on Cantwell that we need our big players to step up, and Lawrence was one of them. Especially it says the Kemar game and this is the Benfica header. I mean that's the kind of quality that we need. We are in a market that we shop in that we hope for. Says talented players, and we hope to get them on. Says good contracts, etc., etc. So we are kind of fighting against these big teams with the big budgets and stuff like that. But when we do get it right, and like I says, the big players in our team step up, like say Lawrence, if we can get like say Cantwell back, these are the games that they seem to flourish in. Robert,
absolutely, and players like Lawrence and Cantwell in the SPL. It's a low block and there's not a lot of space, and they find it hard at times to find the pockets and show the quality. I find that kind of cutting edge pass. Europe, it's a wide open game. There's a lot more space, so it probably suits your flair players, creative players like Lawrence and Cantwell. So if we can get them in to the squad and get them on the ball, especially at Ibrox, and as you said, Benfica, we're getting cut open at times. There is margin for them to get in behind. So certainly a pleasing thing if it is that the players are available. Obviously, Lawrence, as you said, he's took the Cantwell absence to his effort and put in a great shift in the Kilmarnock game. And the run for Benfica, the goal, the run, the timing of it is perfect. If he is a second earlier, the ball's behind him and we don't score that crucial opening goal. So, as you say, we don't always have the big luxury of the money to bring in a top quality player, but Lawrence has added quality to the team when he has been in the squad, and it's pleasing to see that he is getting a run now, and hopefully he can progress and not have any injuries towards the end of the season, because I think he has got a major part to play, as do all the players, but certainly your attacking, flair, creative players, especially in these big games in Europe.
It's got to be a bit of a headache, I think, just to go back to Lawrence, that when you've got Lawrence and Cantwell fit, manager has played them together, but obviously Lawrence has been the one that's kind of sat deeper. But Lawrence seems to be a guy that does turn up in the big games. You can't get back to PSV and that with the free kick, and even away as well. He had a good game away at PSV, and then this is the Kilmarnock game, and then this is against Benfica. He's just there, and he's got that quality that. He'll be wasted, I think, if he's more put back. I think we just need to try and fit him into the system, and hopefully, if there is a Cantwell there, that the two of them can work together, because there was a kind of wee partnership building, but again, the two of them end up, one either gets an injury and they're out, and the kind of partnership breaks down, and obviously, you've got say Diamonde coming in, and he's filling that position now, so it's hard to get the two of them in the team, but they're probably two of our best players.
Yeah, it's a good headache to have, but it's not really one I think any of the managers have had with them, because one of them's always been injured. And like you say, he's played Lawrence a little deeper. Lawrence has looked comfortable there as well, especially at Ibrox. But like you say, he also produces good numbers going forward, likely for a goal. A couple of headers now as well. Header at Benfica. I think if you remember under Gio when he scored the header at Easter Road, actually, when we ended up going down to 9 men there as well. So he's good for a goal. I like the way he plays. If you like, I think he plays like an adult, if that makes sense. He's tough, but he keeps it simple. He's not a show pony. He tries stuff. He has shots, so he's going to get goals. Just hope he stays fit. A bit like last time we started playing him a little bit, and he picked up an injury, didn't he? But he's put a few games together now, so hopefully this is going to prove his fitness, and then get a nice rest during the international break.
Jim, just that you make a good point there. See that he plays as an adult. I mean, granted, we've got good talent in the squad, but you need to remember, when you look at some of the players, I think Diamande and stuff like that, Silva, they're all like, even Cantwell to a certain extent, they're all like 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. I mean, there's no many above the 25 mark in that squad. And I says, when you're looking at Lundstrom, Lawrence, and Golson and Tav, they're kind of in Butland to a certain extent. You're kind of old guard, but I think we need a wee bit more experience in the forward line. Granted, we've got Dessers. I know he's 29, 30, but I feel as though that kind of attack line sometimes does need an older head. Diamande, actually, he's scored goals so far for us, but you can tell he's still young and raw. Ajay.
Oh, Diamandi's definitely. I think Raw's definitely fair and young, isn't it? And to be another one, I know he came. Trying to make sure I get the right ones. He came off the back of not playing a lot of football, so he's maybe looking a bit leggy. And if we had the depth of squad, there's been a few times where he might have came off after an hour, or maybe an hour 70 minutes, but we've just not had the chance to rest these players. I agree. I think at times when you're playing with all these young, you've got McCausland coming in, Matondo's a young man. Like you say, need a bit of guidance and just that maturity going forward to realise, the aim of the game is still to, score goals. We have to be efficient. And I think Tom Lauritz definitely gets that. And that's the point. So hopefully between them, get some more players in, it will work. But Lundstrom, Lauritz, the guys at the back, that should be a mature enough sort of backbone to let these younger, rawer players go and get the goals.
Robert, just to expand on what JM's point about the kind of like playing as an adult, do you think we're lacking? It's hard to obviously buy that kind of complete player because you're talking what it says you're going to have to pay the big dough, whereas I think you're buying potential when you're buying young, and it's probably the market that you're more short in, I think. But I think sometimes you do need a couple of older heads in a team to try and, I don't know, just to have that bit of brilliance. You even touched on it with that Diamira. How'd you say his name again? Robert, you're the expert with it.
Maria.
Diamira. Aye, Diamira. The experience, he's playing for Benfica. They're not putting him on the park just to run about. They're putting him on because he's got quality still at that age. So, I don't know, is it something our squad's maybe lacking?
It's good to have experience, but I think in the modern day, in the way the business or the Rangers look at the business side of things, the 19 to 24, 25-year-old market is probably where we're at just now. And you maybe have 2 or 3 experienced players, and that might be over the age of, say, 28, 29, 30, in modern day of what is classed as an older player. You do need it, I think, but young players these days, for me, are kind of fearless. Obviously, this is talking from my generation and yourselves, but players these days are young and fearless, but you always want to have that experienced head of just settle down and play the game and not like the occasion as such. So I think it's good to have a balance, but certainly the way Rangers are moving forward and the way times are moving forward, a younger squad is probably better to have than too many experienced players, because we've been in that position before where we've had a goalkeeper at 40 and a back line of a 30-year-old, 33-year-old, 32-year-old, and you class them as older players these days. So every fan wants young, exciting prospect players, and I think that's the route we're going to go down, but certainly with the added experience edge of 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm. Aye, I think, Jim, you always need that kind of like a kind of core, don't you? Experience and stuff like that. I think like the whole firm games sometimes have shown up that maybe we've been lacking that kind of. You look at our teams of the past, like what Barry Ferguson had in front of him at times. You're looking now. Sometimes these young boys are going into these games, and granted they're getting European experience and stuff, but it's this. I know Clement's trying to build it, but it's this experience that you need to try and get out of the line for titles and stuff like that, I think.
Yeah, 100%. And, and to be fair, maybe it's because we've not been on. We're about to see which of them are, aren't we? Because we've definitely got a title race on our hands now. And let's be honest, they can't say that this team hasn't shown maybe that edge and, if you like, maturity, because we've been on some run of winning games since the new managers came in. So we'll see. I agree. I think, if you like, with the centre-backs, the goalkeeper, Tavernier played so many games. Luncher has been pivotal, especially since the managers came in. It's just about using that spine, keeping that spine fit, and hopefully the rest can do the business going forward. But we're about to see if they have got that, that adult or that maturity, because they're definitely in a title race.
No, but do you think that's the thing with probably the younger ones, that we've got to maybe cut them a bit of slack, that there's got to be that wee bit of inconsistency in the team with them. Maybe the passes are just no, and I think Raskin's getting a wee bit of heat now for his passing and his contribution to the team now. But again, he's another young lad that's just coming back from injury, and again needs probably time. Diamande sometimes passing's been a wee bit off. I think we're going to get that, and maybe younger players, we're going to get these inconsistencies, and it's probably something we're just going to have to deal with as a team and as a fan base, I think, going forward.
We are, but at the same time, there's probably players that are similar level or even younger in different leagues that play far, far higher level and more consistent. It comes down to me is the pressure of playing for Rangers and the expectations that you have, and we've seen in the past that sometimes it's just too big a weight on the shoulders, and the jersey's too heavy for some people. But in terms of what we have at our squad, yes, they're going to be nervous, and particularly as James says now, they've got a title race. We're competing in all fronts to win trophies. There'll be nerves, there'll be excitement in these younger players. It's how they manage it. But I think if it was a different manager, I would probably say it's more nervy for the younger players. But given what Clement is and the way he's approached everything so far, I think the young players will learn a lot of how to manage the emotions and the pressure, the nerves, and everything else at a young age as well. And the man management, I think, is crucial to that.
Jayam, obviously the summer will deal with a lot of these things that I think we've even touched on it, that we probably need a defender, especially on that left side, probably somebody to cement that kind of right hand side place. But one player that kind of highlighted that he's enjoying his time there at the weekend, I think it was on BBC, was Silva. Boy thrived in Benfica, and he thrived at the weekend there as well, getting his goal. He's starting to settle in now, I think, and probably hopefully hitting form just at the right time for us.
Yeah, no, 100% he is. And even though obviously it's not his natural position out there, I think him being out wide and getting a bit more of the ball, it's letting us all see his quality, and he's obviously got tons of it. He's quick. Obviously, you don't go for £35 million or euros if you're not any good to the Premier League. But I think it's because of the way the Scottish League is and how they sit back and that, he's standing up front, he's maybe not getting an opportunity to showcase all his talents. And we may have stumbled on something there, because he's definitely a threat for a fullback, and he can go past the man as well. So I'm enjoying him, seeing him out there, to be honest. And I have no qualms if he continues out there, as long as Big Dessus can step up in the middle. I think Silva does a good job out there.
Robert, you been surprised that he's kind of started to kick on now, or do you think it's always been that quality would always shine through eventually anyway?
I think when you come with a reputation and a price tag of 35 million on your shoulders, you're expected to show that potential, and we have seen it over the past few games. Benfica particularly, again, in his home in Portugal against his old team's rivals, his boyhood club's rivals, he certainly lived up to the expectations, and I think we saw the real qualities he can bring, and he got the 2 assists as well. So he is enjoying his time. He's obviously come out and said that, and he would love to stay. Again, sometimes money talks, especially when you've got a £35 million price tag on your head. But certainly, if he is here for obviously here to the end of the season, the contribution that he makes, I think, is going to be quite significant. And as James said, although it's not his natural position out in the left, he certainly is a threat out there, and we can see that he can create goals as well as score them. So, been impressed, and I think he's kind of becoming a fan's favourite as well. You can see when he plays with a smile, almost like kind of cheeky wee smile as well. On Thursday night, he seemed to kind of thrive off the laughs and the jokes of the crowd and things, and that kind of seems to spur him on as well. So, certainly a good player, and if we can somehow have him next season, certainly more than welcome.
I don't know if you've seen the kind of question or whatever it was put to him, but he was saying that it's it might not be down to him, it's down to other people, and that they make that kind of decision for him. But to be fair, I think what it is, the decision that the boy will be making is that depending how we do with, I don't know, qualification, maybe Champions League, how our budgets are running, what Wolves are actually wanting to do with them as well. I think there's quite a few contributing factors that's going to come into play if we are going to have him. I would say maybe for another season on loan. But I think if the boy's happy and he's enjoying his football, then and what says he's winning trophies, then I think it's a place that he'll want to maybe continue on his spell. Maybe no on a permanent signing, but certainly on a loan.
Yeah, 100%. Look, there's a few variables. I think, to be honest, when he's never going to be a permanent Rangers player, I don't think we'll be able to get anywhere near what Wolves are going to be wanting to get paid for their record signing. I think we've got to remember. The only thing will be if we do get Champions League football, and if we decide, it might be a case of we decide he's who we want in the Champions League, because we're going to have a transfer window and stuff, and our wages might be best spent anywhere else. And then there's also the fact that if he does continue to do well, other teams might be able to offer a bigger contribution to his wages, because I imagine we're only paying quite a small percentage because he'll be on big money. But I think enjoy him while we've got him, and hopefully he can do a bit and he enjoys his football. But at least like Seema or other loan players, he comes with a great attitude and he gives everything for us while he's playing for us.
Aye, no, I agree. Robert, as JM says there about loans, how do you feel about loans in the team? Do you think it's something that Clement's forced to use? And I think Clement's touched on in his interviews before, he would much rather sign the player rather than have loans. But do you think going forward, for us to have better quality, we're going to have to be in the loan market more often than not?
I don't have an issue with using the loan market, to be honest. The players you pick up in there can sometimes be of real quality, as we've seen with, if you'll go back to, we brought Kent in on loan first, and we know what he brought, and we ended up signing him. All right, it didn't end the way we all thought it would, but certainly when you first got him on loan, he lit up the team, he added quality, and we went and signed him. Silva is coming on loan, again, impacted the squad. Silva came in on, Seema came in on loan. Didn't start great, but suddenly you look at his contribution, he's got 15 goals, and we said how big a loss he was going to be. So there's certain times that you can pick up a real quality player in the loan market, and if it improves the squad, I'm all for it. I'm not a big fan of the 6-month loan from January to the end of the season, but again, if you're sitting in a position where you can go and win the league, extend it, or you can catch them up, whoever's in front of you, if a player can come in and add that, certainly it works out, but we know sometimes it pays off and sometimes it doesn't. So it is that risk, but I think, again, it comes down to the management, the director of football, the board, it all comes together. But again, I've got no issues with using the loan market if it's the right player that improves the squad.
My only concern is I'm like Robert, I don't mind using it as long as we've got a player there that's hungry to come and contribute to the squad. But when you look at our if you count Diamande and Cortez and as loans as well, like you're talking there, what's that, four loans sitting in the squad now, which are kind of big contributors to our first team squad. What happens if you lose all they four? I mean, you're talking it's a rebuild May Summers, isn't it? So you've got to be careful in that market that you don't disrupt your solid base too often, because again, you could build up momentum and then you end up losing it in the summer.
Yeah, no, if done right, loans, especially for sort of our budgets, are a good option, because, we can maybe, especially with us in Europe and that, we can attract a certain player that maybe wants to showcase himself in Europe. I agree, you don't want to be relying on them because, like you say, you can end up falling a bit short in your squad and they don't always work. I remember Umar Sadiq was a £35 million player, apparently. I mean, that didn't work. Like that, he was from Roma. He was the next big thing when he was only young, but that never worked. So they don't always work. But I agree. But like any transfer, any business, the right one can really work. And maybe it's a case of you need to fill a gap because, say McCausland became a standout right winger and ended up going to England for big money. you maybe wouldn't get the opportunity to replace him. So then you look for a loan to plug the gap while you look for a, you know, if done smartly, they could be a really useful tool for us. But I agree, you don't want your squad to be relying on them year after year.
Yeah, Robert, I think you were saying there as well. You were saying at the point about that we've got a kind of option to buy and then an obligation to buy. So it's kind of there's some of them we're trying before we buy, and there's some of them that, like I says, as long as they're doing well, then we're buying them in the summer. It's I just the way that Clement's wanting to play and stuff and set up. I think with the looks at it, he'll probably make a solid base at the back, and then he'll maybe, like you says, use the loan market for that bit of extra quality up front that we can probably buy outright. Do you think going forward?
I'd say so. I think it's probably particularly if you look at the players he has brought in this window, it's been middle to front. I think come the summer you might see it being middle to back, and as you say, focus mainly on the back line being players that are bought in, and then use the loan market for these attacking players, because it is predominantly attacking players that are on the loan list, because there is so many clubs that they don't get a sniff in, and they might not get a sniff in because they're not great, just they don't get a sniff in their club because somebody in front of them is playing really well and they might be young and want to go out and get some game time. So I think what we need to kind of look at as well is you've got a manager and we've got a director of football who have worked together before. The three players that have brought in, as you say, Cortez, Diomande, Silva, they've all impacted, they've all contributed, and they've all improved the squad. So far, you would have to say that the loan market, although you've got options and obligations to buy for Cortez and Diomande, has been a success. And if that's going to continue, then so be it.
Aye, no, well said. I think we've been joined by a caller. I think it's Stuart. Are you there, Stuart?
Hi guys, how you doing?
Very well, Stuart. Like I say, really looking forward to this game on Thursday coming up again, mate. And team seems to be thriving. What's your points, mate?
Definitely. I mean, just looking at last night's game, just to start with. I mean, I'm no long in, so I'm not really sure what the chat was, but just the general feeling. I mean, once it started, I never ever felt at ease with it. I never ever felt we were under any pressure. I always felt that we were going to win and sort of just do the job sort of thing. And that's exactly the way it sort of transpired. And what I liked about last night as well, I liked there were a wee bit, although nothing came of it, there were a wee bit of variation in the corners. Some in swingers, couple out swingers, wee short ones here and there, just to kind of near post ones as well. And I thought that was kind of a wee bit positive rather than just lobbing them in, getting an out swingers type of thing. Too predictable at times. So I thought there were a couple of positives for that. I thought in general it was a solid performance, really. You know what I mean? I was quite impressed with Lundstrom again, to be honest with you. You know what I love? I love Silva, the big guys, playing with a smile on his face, and I think that's infectious through the team. I really do. Kind of sort of lift the team, I think. He's that enthusiastic, and they were the two kind of standouts for me at that sort of point. You know, I just thought I was quite happy with the game, and as you say, but when you look at it, I mean, I know we're short in numbers, but if you look at how many players would have played last night if you had a full squad, we're probably talking the majority of them. You know, you've got your back five, you've got Lundstrom, Diomande, there's like 7, you've got Silva, maybe Odessa's 8, so you're only kind of looking at maybe 3 that you would interchange with. So we're not too bad shape, we're not much depth on the bench right enough, but if we could stay clear of injuries, I think we'll get a 2-0 victory against Benfica and I'll be happy.
I'll take that, mate. Just to jump back to your point on Silva, Stuart, that's what we are actually talking about. We're talking about the boy in the kind of loan market and whether it's a plus point or a hindrance sometimes to come on, because you could be building something nice and the next minute we lose it all in the summer. But I'm just going to take that point you were saying about Silva with how infectious he's been with the squad through Jaim and Robert. Jaim, the goal, the Sterling goal against Benfica, you seen Sterling jumping Silva's back. The two of them were celebrating together. Now, I mean, that boy, Silva's not a permanent signing, but you could tell that there was a togetherness and a real like kind of team goal there that they were all happy about celebrating together with. Jaim?
Yeah, there's definitely a team spirit there, isn't it? Even the lone ones that you hear them say how, and they always seem to go back to Tav and Golson when they say how they've helped, people settle in so quickly, which is great to see from the so-called leaders. And it's great to see the team celebrating together. He must be a strong lad as well, Silver, to hold Big Sterling up. I would have been flat on my face if he jumped on my back. That's for sure.
Robert, again, Sima, I think you touched on the point last week, saying that Sima was contacting Clermont to say that he wanted to go air with the squad and support them in any way he could. And again, it's a lone player that 9 times out of 10 you would think they would just be wanting to sit at home and watch the football on the telly, whereas this guy's wanting to still be a part of the squad, be around about them and encourage them as much as he can.
Yeah, and I think it's testament to the player as much as it is the squad and the management. And particularly when a lone player comes in, you do want them to grasp what Rangers is about, the expectations, the pressure, the history. You want a lone player to feel that, and although they can come out and say it in the media and people say, "Oh, it's what the fans want to hear," you can see it in players, and you've seen it in Silva and Sima, that they actually do get it. And even like the likes of Jack Butland coming up to Scotland, where he could have stayed in England for probably double the wages, not played a game. He's come up and he's instantly took it as well. So it works with players getting bought as much as it is with lone players. And when you do have a lone player that is happy at your club, getting games, getting goals, assists, playing in big European games, having a title race, they get the true sensation. And sometimes they actually become, like us, fans on the edge of their seats as well. And it's what we like to see. You don't want to have a lone player that's just here to do a 6-month job or a season-long job. So it is good to see the team bond and the spirit, even with the lone players, and integrate them so quickly. And again, it's a young player as well. Silva's 21? So for a boy to come up with a price tag on him at 35 million, age of 21, it's a lot of pressure, and he's probably been expected to kick on right away, and he's certainly starting to improve over the weeks, and long may it continue to the big games ahead towards the end of the season.
Sure, is it in recent times the loan market's actually doing no too bad for us as it stands now? So do you think it's going to be something again that Clermont will explore come the summer, or do you think he'll try and cement down these boys that we've got already in the squad?
I think it's an option for us. I think it's a good option for us, to be honest with you. I mean, when you look at all these players kicking about the English leagues, if you're not in the kind of top 4, there's quite a lot of no meaningless games, but there's no kind of feeling achievement. If you're playing for Wolves, you're not going to win the league, and you might bump about kind of near the bottom. So there's no kind of achievement. If you get beat, nobody's really worried. Up here, the pressure's massive. All right, you might say the standard's not as good, but I mind to listen to Michael Arteta. He was getting interviewed at Arsenal. He's talking about pressure. He says, "I'll tell you pressure up in Scotland." He says, winning that championship, he says, you've got to win every game, every half, the first half, the second half. He said, that's real pressure. When you've got to win, you've got to go to these small grounds and adapt your style of football. I mean, he said that in an interview. He said, so I'm used to working with pressure. So I think that's what these boys like up here. They go out to the crowd and they think, Jesus Christ, look at this crowd. They're going mad. And they feel a bit love and that. And it's also the infrastructure of Rangers. To bring a boy like Silva up to Scotland, the bad weather and that, he's settled in quick. He's on to the training ground. A lot of that's the management and the management structure. And I praise Alec Ray for that, or these type of boys. They've got a real good blend. It's not just getting, you could hear the best player in the world coming into Rangers, but if the structure's pretty crap about it, and he'll feel on the outside looking in. But he's been brought into the sort of body of the Kirk, for want of a better word, and he feels important, and he's getting his minutes and he's getting his goals. I think he's got to be, I don't know why I say it, but him and that Diamondi, there's got to be the game changers for us this season. There's got to be 2 crucial players on this run-in. There really are. And as I say, last night I was never ever saying, God almighty, I'm a bit, we could be struggling here. I always felt we're going to win it, you know. I thought it was going to be 2 or 3 after they got sent off. But I'm just happy with the whole thing. It's not just about the players, it's not just about the manager, it's about what the structure the manager's set up and he's kind of put in place, if you like. And it could.
Well, it was. Stuart, so give us a phone back, mate. I don't know what's happened to your phone line there, mate. Gives a phone straight back. The techie team will bring you back in. Jai, I think that the point that Stuart was getting at there is he's enjoying the full thing that Comon's created, and one of the points I'll probably take away for that is that Comon's always said to them that he's tried to give them examples so that they can build on it. And I think one of the biggest ones I took away for last week is going into that Benfica game. I honestly expected a constant bombardment off Benfica. I granted we had the moments and Butland had that great save and stuff like that off the line and caught it in mid-air and stuff like that. But I was really pleased how we counter-attacked, how our 2 goals were. I mean, the 2 goals that we scored were right up there with top European goals. So as a team, for me, after that game, I hope the team took away from it the confidence that they can take it to Benfica and probably beat them. And for myself as a fan, it proves to me that there's a team there that's good enough to compete at that level.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, and to be honest, in the second half, even though they maybe had a lot of possession and territory, I don't remember Butland having to make too many saves or really last ditch saves to us. Obviously, the equaliser came through an own goal. I know I think Di Maria got through, but it was a mile offside, and then that was that really. There wasn't too many chances, and to be honest, we probably could have created more. I just didn't think we actually wasn't amazing on the ball in the second half either. I think maybe a bit of tiredness again. Put a lot of energy if we could have made the changes. So I think we can cause more of a threat, especially at Ibrox. I think people will be surprised. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm like you. I'm really confident going into it on Thursday.
Robert, you just want to expand on Stuart's point?
Yeah, certainly. As I said, the whole setup it's a lot more bonded. I know the saying over the past few weeks and months has been together, and you can certainly see that that's happening on the pitch as well as off it. The management, the coaching staff, even to the extent the board and director of football since he's come in as well. So as I said before in the show, it's all a giant jigsaw and all the pieces are coming together, and hopefully by the end we put that last piece in, it'll come in silverware at the end of the season. And how many trophies, who knows. Exciting times ahead, mate.
Stuart, welcome back, mate. Definitely was the odds that done it for the mates. We were enjoying.
Maybe me. I was talking about that. Can somebody come in and they kind of must have pressed the button or something? I don't know. Came I like it as you never get disturbed when somebody disturbs you. You know what I mean? But never mind. Never mind.
No, Nate. We actually we jumped on your point about how Comon's like I says he's galvanised. He's like I says he's built on moments. He's always said to the team that he's tried to give them examples so that they can have that belief. And none other than the Benfica game there that we went out and showed that we could actually compete against these world class players.
Well, definitely. I mean, it was like the sort of Real Betis type of thing. I mean, you could. A lot of that's measured on what the budget they spent and stuff like that. I mean, let's be honest, Benfica and Real Betis have spent a lot more money than we'll ever spend. So to compete at that level and do what we've done, a win and a draw and almost 2 wins, it's incredible. Say, when you think if we were about 3 or 4 months ago. You know what I mean? Even at the beginning of the season, you would never have believed that, thinking you're going to have a good season, So, no, I'm really quite impressed. Furthermore, I'm impressed with the draw. I'm really happy about the draw getting Hertz in the semi, because it could mean that we're going to Hampden, the last game of the season, for a treble. I mean, how sickening will that be? The other two, you know what I mean? Especially one of them. It'd be absolutely brilliant. I mean, I could see it's all lining up for us. I really could. As you say, I'm dying for Thursday to come, man. I really am. I think Silva's got me that kind of geared up, because I just love seeing the guy scoring a goal, man. He loves it. He loves Rangers. Trust me.
Mm-hmm. Right, well, let's just keep these points about Thursday. And lads, if you want to get yourselves on mute, because it's that time of the night where we're going to have a tune.
There's no other
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Cheers for that, folks. I'm sure there's a lot of people foot tapping to that off their chairs. Well back, boys.
Yeah.
Yep,
Good,
all-
good.
All back.
Wow. That was different, wasn't it? Oh,
Aye.
Gonna be jigger, Joy.
yeah, that was that won't be on the top 10 for me. That one, that was a shocker.
Folks, they can dig out and
Robert, I think I had the trackie for that vinyl release.
I don't think I was born yet, mate. Sorry about that.
Aye,
It's a
aye.
young team. So obviously looking forward to Thursday night. Early kickoff, 5:45. Let's remember that as well. So this TV rights that they have has obviously made us kick off at earlier than the 8 o'clock spot. So I don't think Ibrox is not going to be full. I'm sure there'll be a lot of people getting over to the game really early. Do you think the early kickoff is going to make a massive difference in terms of how we approach the game, boys?
I don't think so, to be honest with you. I think, doesn't, as you say, if they're playing in the car park at 1 in the morning type of thing, they'll be there. So I think it's maybe a mere an inconvenience for Benfica. I mean, what are they coming out the night before? And I don't know. It's a bit unusual. It's how you adapt to it, really. And they're fit professional players, so I just see it being a big difference, to be honest with you. I really didn't.
JM?
No, I don't think it will. Obviously, it'd be a pain for some people. Hopefully, everyone that would normally be going will get to go. Plenty of time to organise it. Hopefully, it's a pain. People travel far and it can't help from work. It's far from ideal, but it won't affect the atmosphere. It's a sellout, and hopefully, it just means that everybody gets a couple hours extra in the pub afterwards for a change.
Yeah, certainly. Hopefully, celebrating a victory. GB, I'll come to you on this point. Do you think the young players, particularly the B team players that we've seen around the first team squad, will have a part to play on Thursday night given our injuries? Obviously, we've seen McKinnon come in the past few games. Do you think there'll be anybody else named on the bench, particularly the likes of maybe Lovelace get injured in the B team, so that's unfortunately he won't be there. But McKinnon and Robbie Fraser, do you think they'll maybe have a part to play?
I mean, I'm probably ashamed to say it, Robert. I don't really overly follow the B team. I kind of just see the results as and when they come. Probably a good question for Old Bear when he's on, because he is able to go and see them and stuff. But from what I've seen with the Benfica game, when the manager's putting on a boy like McKinnon into that game, with the time that was left on the clock, how that boy was able to, take the pressure of that game, and he had a fantastic block as well. That I think stopped a goal for us. So it's I think the boys is taking it in his stride. You've seen it the weekend again there. He gets a kind of nod as well after the manager. And I think the boys want to take his opportunity. I think he sees a pathway, which is good. And I think these boys know that they can't really come in and make a mistake. They've got a job to do. And I think if they prove themselves, then there will be a place for them going forward, Robert. So I really do think come Thursday that you'll have your core talented players there, and then you'll have, like he says, a couple of B team players there to help freshen the legs, I think, to maybe possibly see out the game.
Stuart, GB picks a good point there about the players taking a chance when they get it, obviously, whether it be in the Scottish Cup, the League, or the European games, the young players in particular. Probably be a bit quite fair to say that they're taking a chance and giving a chance because of the injuries, but certainly if they do make an impression, the manager's got a headache of trying to keep them in that squad as well, and they're not going to go away anytime soon, especially getting a taste of the first team football, are they?
No, I mean, I think the way it's been handled has been great. I mean, I like the look of, was it Cole? I like the look of him, and I think if you look at Rangers in the past, I knew somebody, I'll not mention who they were. They were in the Rangers youth team, and they were allowed to have an ego, if you like. Where I think with Clement, you're not allowed to have an ego. If you think you've got an ego, it's going to get squashed out of you, and you get done with it. That's a senior player. But if you've got egos at young players, that gets pushed through and say, look, you need to work harder than the full team players if you're wanting in this team. So I think any young players that come in, I think they'll kind of shine a wee bit. And as you say, the bloke at the end of the Benfica game, hit him right in the chest, and the ball was heading into the corner. I mean, I think McCausland's learned for that. If you look at way back to the Real Betis game, he was caught ball watching a couple of times. The 1-2s when the boy scored the left back, cracking goal, and he was kind of caught. He should have been trailing that boy. But he learned very, very quickly after that. It's not the finished article. But you've got to remember, these boys are about 20 or 21. McKinnon's, I think he's 21, I think he is. So it reminded me of a young sort of, what do you call it, Barry Ferguson type of boy, Ken. He's a bit kind of carefree, no fear of anything. You heard him talking on TV, I reckon. If you heard that, he was come across quite well. And people say he's a young boy, but he's 21, you know what I mean? So he needs to kind of step up, and they need to put in the effort to get that chance. And I think they've done it, and I think they deserve it, more importantly. They truly deserve it. And I think if they get called up, I think he's not going to be sort of made a folly type of thing. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely, mate. I think, obviously, as fans, we have called for the youth academy to bring through young prospect players, and certainly ones of our own. And we know Cole McKinnon said at the weekend he's a Rangers fan and he's enjoying the minutes he's going to get and learn from what he's getting in the training ground, obviously involved with the first team picture. And it's crazy to think, JM, that some of the boys that are in the B team actually played the game against Hearts in the SPL and won quite comfortably. I think Cole McKinnon actually played part of that as well, did he not?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I remember that was the 3-1, wasn't it, before the European final? Was it 3-1? Yeah, it was, wasn't it? And they can play, and they can all obviously play football, otherwise they won't be at us in the first place. It's never easy to get through at any level to a first team when you're younger. You've got to wait for a chance, whether it be somebody getting hurt or maybe like McCausland and Lovelace got. The team wasn't performing right and there needed to be a little change, and they got their chance. McCausland took it. He's still involved. I think ideally the squad would be a bit bigger so we could sort of use him at different occasions. But, he's taking his chance and he's playing regularly. So the manager's not going to be scared to use these players if he thinks they're ready. And I think the fact that once the youth players trust that and they know they'll get a shot if they do it, that suddenly means they're ready as well. And they're not just, if you like, taking up space in the changing room. So be interesting to see how many are used. But I think you're right. McCausland obviously a bit more established, McKinnon and Leon King maybe as well. I think they all might have a bit of a part to play.
GB, what's your thoughts on the youth players?
I mean, just to kind of add to what you were talking about there with the young boys and that, my hopes for the future with the youth team is that Clermont can bring them up to the level of what we're seeing now in the first team. We're bringing in boys for other clubs who are 21, 22-year-old and stuff like that, who are ready for, like, say, top European nights. I mean, they're playing at big clubs already. I mean, I think sometimes when you look at our 21-year-olds, I think JM's touched on this before with McCausland, they still look like wee boys. But then when you look at a boy like Silva, I mean, he's built. I mean, he looks like a man. I mean, it's that kind of way. I think Clermont's got to kind of between his coaches and the B team coaches, I think they've got to try and develop that further so that when they are really stepping into this first team, that they're grabbing a shirt, they're bringing the quality that we're probably needing. We're not needing, I don't think, any more squad players. We're needing boys that are actually going to help turn a profit, I think.
Yeah, I agree, mate. You can see there is a big step in level in terms of a B team and a first team player, and you see it obviously in quality as well as the build, as you say, with McCausland. He does look like a young, slim boy, but when you compare him to the likes of Silva, Sterling, they're big units, and you can just see a different level. Is that down to the way youth football is up here in Scotland compared to where it is down in England or other European countries, or is it down to the way the management filters it down through the academy upwards? And obviously, we know during the summer there was the revamp of the youth academy, and there still continues to be behind the scenes changes every day. Obviously, Jonathan Johansson, the latest one that was added to the coaching staff at the youth academy. So, is it time that we focus more on our young players in the academy than we do look at the loan market GB, I'll come to you first since you mentioned the loans earlier.
I mean, I think if we're able to, like I said, get them up to a level, Robert, that they are ready to go. I think Clement seems to be a guy that wants his players in the gym. He wants them being able to play the kind of 2 games a week or every 3 days, as they say. And it's that kind of way that, like I say, I think you've made a good point there on other clubs, like say Silva's came for, like Portugal. He was playing in I think like Benfica or Porto's team. I can't remember what it was when he got signed for Wolves. I mean, at such a young age, getting a £35 million price tag into the Premier League. I mean, they're signing him because he looks fit and ready. I mean, this is where we've got to kind of get better with. I think with our players, when you look at our squad as it stands now, I don't think the B team, there's not got to be anybody coming in there and saying, right, we're going to grab him at I don't know, 8 million mark or whatever. We're always kind of similarly listing these players for like £1 million, stuff like that. So hopefully it's something Clement can develop, and we get to see more Rangers boys in the first team.
Stuart, what's your thoughts? Would you prefer to see the youth academy used more rather than loan boys in, or would you rather have a player that is ready made for these kind of European nights and big games that we're involved in?
I think it's never one or the other. It's always a balance. I mean, I think the way he's played it, we're getting sort of Silva on loan, 21-year-old, loads and loads of potential. How we got to that on loan is beyond me. I don't know why anybody else wouldn't have took him, or he could have had opportunities elsewhere. He chose us. You would got to wonder why he chose us. Obviously, it's the manager and the connections. And I want to see a Barry Ferguson or something like that, or a Robert Fleck type of guy coming through. I mean, if you look at boys that's kind of went on, Lewis Mayo at Kilmarnock, I think he's having a great season as well. I mean, he's really came on because he wasn't getting a chance fair enough, and he would probably never have made the chance there. So he's went away, and sometimes maybe we let players go too early. But would he have developed to the stages that they knew if he had stayed with us? Probably no. That there should always be a buyback option type of thing. I don't know, maybe that's a good idea as well, because it gives them a chance to develop. Because I think they must get fed up once you get to a certain level, thinking, I'm not getting a chance here. So you've got to kind of keep jollying them along type of thing. You'll get your chance, And that's why Clement says it all the time, they'll get their minutes if they put in the training. And he's true to his word. And I'll be honest with you, I think McCausland is quite slight, but he's got good ball control, and he's good at drifting in, and he kind of just floats along the grass sort of thing. And once he does get a wee bit more bulked up, he's maybe a year behind like Silva and stuff like that. So physique maybe go. These boys just kind of, you see them one season at the end, and then the time they start again, you'll say, Christ almighty, look at this guy now, he looks a bit something different about him. He's got all the ability in the world, and I think his attitude's good. So I think he's got to strike the balance, and I think he will get the balance right in the summer. He can't wait to the summer to get rid of a few players or can ease them out the door, get his own stamp on the team. You've got to commend him for what he's done so far with the young players.
Stuart makes a very good point about the likes of Lewis Mayo going to Kilmarnock, and I agree, he's having a fantastic season with them, and we've obviously got young Adam Devine out on loan at Motherwell. We've seen Nathan Patterson move on to Everton into the Premier League. We've lost out on Billy Gilmore going down to Chelsea. Are we sometimes too naive to look at our youth players and put them into big games and let them thrive in the pressure?
I think it's a real hard one, isn't it? It's always in hindsight. I mean, the Patterson one, 16 million quid. That's done its job, hasn't it? That's part of the youth academy itself for us. We had him, we kept hold of him, let him develop. Didn't actually play that much for us, and we got 16 million pound. I'd say that's a pass. I'll definitely take that for him. The Lewis Mayo one, he plays as what sort of a right back, right centre half. It's hard to get in the team, isn't it? I don't think you can always look at everyone individually and go, that was a mistake or that was wrong. Billy Gilmore, obviously, I think we got 500,000 for him. They didn't even have to give us that, I don't think. I think that was a token gesture from Chelsea, because obviously we've got players like that before, like Bassey, haven't we? From the cross-border thing. So, it is what it is. We took Bassey, and then we got 20, whatever we got for him, 20 million euros. So it's a tough one. There's always going to be the what-ifs and whatever, but it would be nice to see a couple more starting to come through in the next couple of years. But they're not all going to be successes. And as long as they're making money like the Pattersons, the Bassies and stuff, we'll take it.
Yep, absolutely, mate. I think the old saying is, if you're good enough, you're young enough, or you're old enough. And age is not a matter in football these days. If you've got the ability and the quality there, whether you're 16 or 26, it's how you showcase it. And I think the manager's going to be pivotal to that going forward, as you say. Just bring it back to Thursday night. We've obviously gone into the game with the 2-2 draw, but at home, the support's going to be right behind us. GB, how do you think we'll approach it? Do you think we'll be compact, or do you think we'll go all out knowing that we can get in behind Benfica? Or does it depend on what players are available? Obviously, we'll find that out tomorrow.
That's the question, isn't it? I wish they had the crystal ball to find out. I mean, I seen Big Sterling saying back soon. I don't know whether that means he's coming back on Thursday or does he come back in the Sunday game. But I think that the manager's kind of one of these guys that seems to have no fear. I think he's got to have a strong enough starting 11, Robert, to go full pedal to the metal in a sense, because he's that kind of way that I think he's saying in the last interview with Benfica that he's not got to sit back and park the bus or anything like that. So I think he's got to go strongest squad possible and play the exact same way he did against Benfica, because that's what troubled him. It's just that right side for me, Robert. I don't know what he's got to do. I don't know how he's got to play out there, but again, it's an opportunity for somebody to try and stake a claim and figure out that kind of puzzle for the manager.
Stuart, how would you approach the game on Thursday? Again, the right side, as GB alludes to, is potentially an issue if we've got Sterling out and McCausland. It's probably an area of concern for us.
It's either a Scott Wright or a Matondo. I mean, it's either or, really. But going back to the game itself, I think a Sparta Prague sort of performance, like what we had in the first half there, it was just come out and blitzed the whole thing. And I think Benfica have got an issue with their manager. I don't know if you know this, but their fans had a big banner up saying something like thanks or some next or something. I don't know what the words were, but it was like basically saying, look, we've no confidence in you. And I feel that kind of transmits through the players, although they won it at the weekend, Benfica 3-1, I think, transmits through the players, through the manager. They might not be at it the first kind of 15, 20 minutes, and that's where we could capitalise, because we'll be at it, the fans will be at it. And I think we usually start quite well. So I get a feeling we could really start well, maybe get a goal. But going back to the right-hand side, who would I pick, Matondo or Wright? I would pick Matondo at the minute. But I think it might not work out for him, so Wright might come on. So it'll be between the two, to be honest with you. I really do. And Wright, I don't know. He's got the ability to get by people, but he just doesn't seem to turn it on for some reason, you know? Just doesn't. Not for me, anyway.
I think if it was me, Stuart, I'd be keeping Scott Wright until that Scottish Cup semi-final against Hearts. He's got a bit of history at Hampden against Hearts, hasn't he? So it's the only time he scores.
The same goal all the time, eh? Aye. I think so.
He's consistent. Aye. Stuart makes a great point. The manager at Benfica is under pressure. They obviously lost 5-0 to Porto, and there was calls for him to be sacked before our game. We get the early goal through Tom Lawrence, and you could hear the nerves and the groans and the moans from the home crowd. Do you think it's important that we do start on the front foot, get an early goal and get their fans rattled as much as the team, and obviously spur our guys on?
Well, yeah, you want to keep the nerves within the team themselves, don't you? I don't think their fans are going to be concerned. I don't know if they've sold out. They can get 2,000 or 3,000, can't they? I don't know if they've sold out or what they've taken or whatever. But I'm sure that we won't be able to hear them with the Ibrox crowd behind them. But I think it's about using what we've done on a lot of European nights, and it was getting to the stage when we were expecting to score a goal in the first 5 minutes in that run with the way Tavernier was going. It was getting good. So you just want a fast start and get them unsettled, and for us to be on the front foot and take the game to them. But I'm looking forward to it, and I think that's how we're going to play. I think we're going to see the same again.
It's quite remarkable, Stuart, isn't it, that 10 years to the day we actually lifted the League One title, and here we are talking about another European run that a winning Thursday night could put us into a quarter-final of a competition that we've been to the final already.
I know it's it's mad when you think about how it all happened. I mean, I can't remember when Tav came into the scene, but what was it, £300,000 or something we paid for him? I can't remember. Him and Waghorn we got. So, I mean, he's been there for most of the journey back to where we were, you know. So it's just a bit of a loss in Seville. That would have just been brilliant. And what a journey for like say Tav coming. We were in the leagues, working their way through to a European final. I mean, it's amazing, to be honest with you. I still feel gutted about that, yeah, to be honest with you. But look, we live in hope, and I'm kind of hoping that if we could get through to the next round, that's some achievement, by the way. You know what I mean? And you look at the teams that's there, kind of just about there. I think Roma beat Brighton 4-0 or something, I can't remember.
Yep.
So they beat somebody 4-0 or something. So you could sort of pick about maybe 3 or 4 teams that's definitely through, the Liverpools and stuff like that. So the teams you would like to kind of avoid at this next stage if you go through. But there are a couple of teams there you think, you know what, they're kind of a Benfica, Real Betis level. We could probably get through to a semi-final if we get through this game. I would be quite confident. Then you never know, You just Dublin, just around the corner. But we'll just wait and see. We'll not get too far ahead of yourself. But a good start tomorrow, Thursday. I think we will. I think the atmosphere's building, and the sort of team Silva kind of enthusiasm's kind of coming through the team. And you look at Lundstrom, again, his legs were a bit gone, but he was still running out of the box, he was still driving forward at that point. So there's a lot of enthusiasm in the team, and that's just infectious for anybody that's coming on, the young players. I'm just wondering if Roofe will start on Thursday. I don't know what you think of that. I would maybe take a chance. If he's fit, why not start him rather than Dessers? That's what I think.
I'll take that to the panel. Go to you, JM, first. Do you think Roofe would start on Thursday night?
I don't think he'll start just because obviously with fitness, I don't know how long he's got. He's kind of came on for a couple of cameos. I agree. I can see what Stuart's thinking because obviously he's a very, very good striker. I don't think he'll start, but we might start to see more of him, which I'm looking forward to for the run into the season because I think he can still be a big player for us. But I think maybe the games before the international break might just be a bit too soon for him to start, in my opinion.
GB? Roofe?
Stuart, Stuart, I agree. I would love to start him. I think it's just the fitness, mate. I think Clement's maybe looking at the longer game in the sense that he's wanting Roofe to be fit and available for at least 20 minutes a game so that he can probably see him in league games, cup games, and Europe as well. You know, I mean, I think he knows if he tries and runs him into the ground with starting him for, I don't know, 60 minutes or whatever, that is a potential there that he might break down again. I think because we're limited up that tap end as well, that he'll probably try and protect him to a certain point. But where I do agree, Bud, is that I think he's got a big say in the game in Thursday. I think if we are still sitting kind of 0-0 running into the last 20 minutes of the game, as we've shown at the weekend there when we put Roofe on, that he can be a total menace in that defence.
Definitely. I mean, I think so. I just thinking something different just to kind of change it up a bit because Dessers, it does no too bad, to be honest with you. He's plenty of running, plenty of enthusiasm. And maybe working with Silva could maybe take that load off him a bit. Kind of Silva's back and forward. Kind of Dessers drops out, Silva goes in. You see the goal he scored against Hibs. Silva, it was a great ball for Lundstrom. Just a quick. What I like about Silva is a bit like Cortez and the other guy, what's it, Diamondi. They take a wee slight touch, then hit the ball right away. There's no kind of lining it up and just labouring the thing. They just snapshot it, just a wee quick turn, bang, and it's away. Because if Silva didn't do what he did, the keeper would have probably saved it. I mean, if it was Dessers, we'd taken our wee half a touch, hit it, get blocked or that. It's the speed of the thing, and Roofe's like that. Kenny's just an opportunist, like the goal he scored against Betis. Kenny just wasn't it bouncing about? It was going to bounce about, but he pounced on it before it even got anywhere, bang into the back of the net. So you're right. I mean, maybe I'm just trying to look at too many different options. But I think if Roofe would start it, if maybe if he says, look, we'll pick you first half, we'll pick you second half, that might have worked. But I could understand opposite side it, bringing Roofe on when they're a bit tired. They'll maybe sneak that goal if they're drawn or maybe a goal down or something. So there's pros and cons to it all. It's like everything. That's what football's about. It's exciting. So we don't know. listen, anybody that can sit and guess Clement is a better person than me, and the rest of us will bet you.
One thing I will say, Stuart, is it's good and refreshing to have Roofe back. As you said, it is a different option to Dessers and Silva. For me, he's still the most clinical finisher at the club. I've said before, his goals to games ratio is rather impressive, even despite the injury troubles he's had. As GB alludes to, if you're needing a goal, if it's 0-0 or one each, you need a goal in the last 10-15. You fling a guy on a Roofe's quality in the box, you're going to get a chance out of him. And as long as he stays fit, for me, I think he's going to have a big part to play in the rest of the season. Whether he starts on Thursday, I don't see it myself, but again, off the bench, and certainly in games to come, the Old Firm, Scottish Cup, that's the games I look at where Kemar Roofe could have a real impact on the team going forward.
I hope I think he's got to play a big part in the season. Clement's maybe got his eye on him. He'll know his fitness levels and stuff like that, the stats, the kind of fitness team. So it wouldn't worry me if he's got his eye on these two games against them. Sort of after one before the split, one after it, they could be league deciders for me. And I've always said that the game before the split, that for me, again, it's wrong to say that, but that for me is a potential league decider. It breaks, if you could get 5 points clear at that stage, if you like, well, break them completely. You know what I mean? And that'll be it. It's a real straw that could break the camel's back. And Roofe's going to play a big part in that. I would hope he just stays fit and just hope we catch a wee break there. You know what I'm saying? And we keep boys like Lawrence fit. Silva doesn't get a wee injury or anything like that, and we could be okay. But we're all running on empty. I think a lot of the players in the SPL, and even down in England, I'll watch it down in England as well. A lot of big teams have got a lot of injuries and that as well. So I don't know what it is. It's maybe just the kind of the levels they play at nowadays than what they did in the past. I don't know, but as long as we kind of keep injury free, I've not got any worries about it, to be honest with you. The only worries will be when we progress if we progressed in the European, the cup sort of thing, that the quality becomes greater, and then that puts a bigger strain on us. But we're punching above our weight as far as I'm concerned there, well above what we expected. So let's just enjoy it. That's all I'm saying. I'm enjoying it more than anybody.
JM, Stuart, is excited. Is that point of the season where you get to that close end of the season, we're in all fronts, 9 games left of the league, Scottish Cup semi-final, a European tie, that win takes into the quarter-final. It's where the club wants to be, and it's where the expectation is that we go and deliver on these fronts.
Yeah, it's the business end of the season, isn't it? They say 9 wins. That's the league. Don't know if that's how many games are left, 8 or 9. But wins the league. The league's hard. So we can do that. We've done it before already. That's absolutely fine, and then we can really hopefully enjoy another European run, which I'm looking forward to. But as you said, the business end, every game matters. Even though every game at the start matters, I don't know. It just always feels a bit different at this stage of the year. Looking forward to it.
So it's the business end of the season, and it's the business end of the show in the last half an hour. So come give us a call.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
GB, we've spoke about obviously the right side potentially being a weakened area if we've not got the McCaws and Sterling. Last week, Clement mentioned possibly a formation change. Do you see a formation change on Thursday, given the fact we've got more players available in the middle and defence than we do in the wide areas? Possibly maybe a 5-3-2 or a 3-5-2?
One thing about Clement, Robert, he's one of these guys that sets up his team to compete, and he'll change his tactics to suit that. Like, he's not a guy that just firmly sticks to a set routine, if you know what I mean. The formation might look much the same, but he analyses his opponents all the time and stuff like that, and I think he takes into context what he's got available to him. The formation, I don't know. I can't see him. If he's going to like a 5-3-2, then, or a 4-4-2 even, you're tending to take away like Silva's. He's wide play and stuff like that, because Silva's been really good at that recently. Like, he's been good at playing out in that left, which I've been surprised at, because that's what we brought. Similarly, we brought him in for in the first place, and he never really got a chance to play out there. And now he's been forced to play out there, he's actually performing really well. I think we've got to kind of just try and stick to what's working. And that right side, I think it's just down to whoever he picks to step up to the mark. I think he's going to just have to say to a player, look, I need you to go out and do a job for me. And as he said, that most of the squad are kind of making that clear to the manager, that they're quite happy to be on the park and do whatever's asked of them. I mean, I think even Sterling's said that he's just happy to play. Tom Lawrence has said it as well. I think he's been questioned about him when he's been playing deep. Is he happy? And Tom Lawrence says, I'm just happy to be on the park playing football. So I think, like I says, even if that somebody that we're not really is a recognised winger or a right-sided player, I think the manager will put him in with all faith in him, and I think that player will go out and put in a hard-working performance. I think we've got to give a wee bit of leeway whatever happens that side of the park this time, Robert. I think, like I says, if it's not a fantastic performance but it's a win, then I think we'll take that all day long.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I think it was certainly through a curveball for me if he did change formation, and I don't think he would, as you say, change the way he approaches a game. It may look on paper the same team and it may set up differently, but at home, Stuart, do you see that a formation change could be beneficial, or do you see it just stick to what we know? And as GB said, the player who is put in a different position that might not be natural to them, they'll go and give it their all, and we know the manager can manage it, and he's not scared to adapt it during the games either.
I mean, I think, see what he's done with Sterling. I mean, he's kind of had him in a few positions, so he's kind of, these kind of things are going on in training. But you've heard them talk a lot that they've not had a lot of time to kind of prepare and train, to get the tactics and all that better. And he's sort of working, he's working away with what he's got and the way it was. And he's putting the jigsaw together, but he's not got all the pieces right yet. So he's having to work with what he's got, saying, right, this guy can do this job for me. It's not the finished article. And it'll not be till next year, till he gets a good pre-season into everybody, and everybody's buying into what he's doing. But if you watch the tactics, they're better than what they were under Beale, obviously, although Beale's meant to be the tactician. But he's got people more covering if somebody's moving forward, right, you move back, or you do this, you do that. Dessers has dropped him a wee bit further forward sometimes, so Silva's coming in. So there's a lot of kind of movement going about. I like Ridvan at left back better than Barisic. Barisic just goes up the line, tries to get across. He's not really great at taking players on. I mean, you notice Ridvan the other night, was it 3 nutmegs he had in the space of about 10 minutes or something? You know what I mean? He's quite more attacking than what you call it, Barisic, and he gets up there, he's out making that wee overlap and run. And you sometimes see Silva, you know what I mean, and kind of cutting that run as well. So they're putting up a good sort of partnership. But for me, he's not had a pre-season in these guys, and he's working with them. I'm always looking for a 3-5-2 type of thing, or a 3-4-3, going back to a 3-5-2. He's sometimes kind of doing that, but you know what I mean, Lundstrom's maybe going back if they're under a bit of pressure until they get the opportunity to maybe come forward. So there's a lot going on that we probably didn't really analyse it as much as we maybe could. The only way you could analyse it is if you're watching it hour and hour again. We're just watching it maybe once, maybe watch it again, and you didn't maybe fully appreciate the tactics that's going on. But I'm quite happy with the way they started in Betis, the way they started in Benfica, Lisbon, or wherever it was. And that'll just continue, because it's a tried and trusted method to do, because he's not had a chance to try other methods. But that'll...
Oh, it wasn't theirs again, Stuart. If you want to give us a call back, bud, we'll get you in as soon as we can. Stuart's obviously happy with the way Clement's managed the side, the way he set up the tactics, the formations, and as you said there, Yilmaz particular, a lot more central in terms of the midfield, inverted wing back his role, and Lundstrom drops into that position between Suter and Goldson, so it's obviously making it look like a you think that's something again that he'll do on Thursday during the game, as much as it is maybe the same line up that is starting on Thursday?
Yeah, I thought maybe last week there would have been maybe a 3 or a 5 at the back, depending how we were doing it, and it didn't turn out. I think he does prefer that sort of 4-2-3-1 with Lundstrom filling the holes. I think especially with how Yilmaz has been playing recently, he's an attacking threat for us, so it'd be good for him to get forward. And Lundstrom, as you say, can just sort of fill in that role, and it saves Lundstrom. It means he can save his energy for the defending. It'd be interesting. One thing he can't say, the manager's definitely pragmatic, and I think he said after the game he's going to have to get even more creative with the injuries. So I have whatever he puts out there, I have faith in it, and it'll be interesting to see. But also, hopefully, maybe we've got 1 or 2 players that we don't realise may be fit.
Stuart, are you back with us? Not yet, I don't think. GB, it will obviously be interesting to Jim says players that maybe not as far away to come back to the squad as they are maybe rumoured to be. Hopefully Sterling makes it. McCausland, again, could be one of the ones that's named on the team sheet, maybe not 100%. And maybe Todd Cantwell, but obviously, as you said earlier in the show, Matondo coming back is a boost, and these games do come thick and fast, and when you get players back, yeah, they're going to be needed.
I mean, the Matondo one is probably my concern, just because he is back for injury. Like, if I was going with my team, I would have like Silva out in the left, Dessers up top, Matondo out in the right. But my fear is that that's going to be the kind of weak link, just because sometimes how Rabi falls out of games and does he start well sometimes. You mean we're going to really need him if he's getting called back into that team for the starting 11. We're going to need him really on it. We can't have these kind of slack passes for him and stuff like that. Whereas, I don't know, see the boy McKinnon, he looks solid. Like, see when he came on to kind of shore up the game for us against Benfica. He was hungry. He was fighting for everything. I don't know if you would get the full 90 out of the boy, but there's a bit of me that would maybe start him and just let him like build us into the game, and then maybe swap out a Tondo on that right side maybe later in the game when Benfica are hopefully on their backside, Robert.
I see your logic there, mate. I think as well after the game, when they spoke to Cole McKinnon, he said that the manager picked up that he played the right mid in the training games and he had done well there, and he believed in him, he had faith in him. So again, it shows JM that there's belief from the manager for these younger players.
Yeah, and it's a little message that he's watching. So, when they get their opportunity, even if it is in training, take it, and you can find yourself playing in Europe. So it's good. Yeah, the guy does it. I mean, is it going to be a bit much to ask him to start the game? I'm not sure. But yet again, we may not have the choice. I'm sure the young man will, handle himself well. He looks comfortable enough. He's obviously a good player to be playing for us. Like you said, it'll be interesting to see. It's just kind of, we know Silva can do a job on the left. It's just maybe if Big Stern is not fit, finding who's going to be able to do the job on the right. Because obviously, young Ross isn't going to be 100% fit either, and Rabi's just coming back. So, be interesting to see. I'm not going to be able to predict it until I see the lineup come out on Thursday.
JM, don't you sit in that fence. I'm going to come back to you and ask you that question on your team. But Robert, just before we do that, what about you, mate? How are you feeling for Thursday? How's it going to? Do you think the manager's got to change tactics, or do you think he'll just run with, don't know, something that Benfica are not expecting?
I think in terms of formation and shape, he won't change it. He'll stick to the 4-2-3-1 as it appears when you line up. Obviously, it'll come down to personnel of who, first of all, is match fit. But if you can get maybe 60 minutes or 70 minutes out of a player, it's whether you think you can get more out of them in that period than you would them coming on for half an hour or 20 minutes. That's obviously what the manager needs to weigh up. I don't see him changing to be a back five. I think that kind of looks, at times it can be too defensive, and we are drawing the game. It's 2-2, so technically you're going into a game 0-0, and you've got 90 minutes or more these days to get to the quarter-final. So I don't see him changing formation. I think he'll expect whoever player he puts in a position that's unfamiliar to them to go and do the job as he has done with the likes of Silva, Sterling, other players that have played at a position. I'm trying to think now, even the likes of Dowell, sometimes he's injured but not fit for Europe, but these kind of players that come in, they'll be asked to do a job, and I don't think any one of them within the squad is going to say they're not up to it. Again, that's whether they come back from injury or they have been in the first team fold. But on your point of McKinnon, I would go with yourself there, mate, and I'd start him on the right midfield position. Again, maybe for that 65, 70 minutes. And if Sterling is got a little niggle, I'd bring him on as a kind of 20 minutes just to shore things up if we're winning the game a bit more defensively as well, because you could then go to a 5 if you've got the lead. But I think the important thing is we start well, particularly at home, get the crowd going, which we know they will be. But if we get an early goal, we can really rattle Benfica, makes them come out the traps, and with the pace we've got, of if it is Matondo or McKinnon, Silva, Lawrence, creativity, we've got a lot of players there that can hurt Benfica.
I well said. Stuart, you back with us, mate? Right, just to let you know, Stuart, definitely is theirs. It's got info calf. Maybe with Jim with that big button, maybe he's pressing something. We never know. Jim, put you on the spot, mate. Right, let's go for it. We'll take into account that there is injuries, right? So let's have your team for Thursday, since we're not going to be back on together. Let's hear it.
Right, well, let's go for it. The so-called regular back 5 now. Butland, Tav, Golson, Suter and Ridvan. And this is where it starts to change. I'm going to throw what we assuming Big Sterling, fit or not fit? Should we assume not fit?
Not fit, mate, I would say.
We'll assume not fit because that's where the decision has to be made then, isn't it? So I think Big Sterling not fit. It's a tough one, but I think you'll see Lundstrom, Ryan Jack, Diamande, Lawrence, Silva, Dessers. And I'm trying to decide which one will go to the right. I think out of Lawrence and Diamande, I think Lawrence will maybe have to be moved over to the right.
Mm-hmm. Still, again, it's still a strong team. Stuart, I think you'll jump back in there, mate.
I'm back in. You want my team?
Yes, fire away, mate. Go for it.
That's as usual, as you say, back 5, Butland, Tav, Goldson, Suter, Ridvan. 2 in the middle, it's got to be Lundstrom, Diamande. You've got Silva on the left, Lawrence in the middle, Dessers up front. And who you've got to put on the right? The fact that Scott Wright never got on, and McKinnon got on, it's doing between McKinnon and, Matondo. So I would kind of go for McKinnon as well. He's got a lot of energy about him, the boy, dead keen. He didn't do too bad when he came on against Benfica. He gets into the right places. He's one of the boys, I think he'll be in the right place at the right time. He's got to track back. Matondo could come on later on. I think Scott Wright seems to be getting shoved further out the pitch. No a lot of options there, so I would put McKinnon in there and the team as I said it. So I think that would be fine for me anyway.
I know, I agree. McKinnon, I think he might be the kind of the dark horse. If you mean, I think the boy's hungry, he can impress, and he can take instructions after the manager. So that's my. I'm kind of the same as you, mate. I think he might have a wee sneaky start. Robert, your team, mate, go and geese it. Let's see it for it.
Same back 5 as the rest of the guys. Butland, Tav, Golson, Suter, Yilmaz, Lundstrom, Diamande, McKinnon, Lawrence, Silva, Dessers. If McKinnon doesn't start, then I would probably bring in Nico Raskin. And what I would do is bring Silva and Lawrence in a bit narrow and play like a 4-3-2-1, but they've got the freedom to go wide, but almost like a left and right forward to support Dessers, since we've not got that natural winger.
Mm-hmm. Aye. Do you know, I like that as well, though, Robert. I think, I did notice with Benfica that, the battles were won in the midfield mostly. And I think if we can control that midfield, it wouldn't be a bad thing to chuck in. I says we've got availability in that midfield to add in another, and maybe push even Diamande up. You mean it's I'd go with that. What do you think, mate?
I know a lot of people probably kind of question the Raskin one because his passing lets him down, but he's got the Lundstrom next to him. We would have Diomande, as you said, you could put him forward. We know he's not afraid to get the ball out his feet, have a shot at goal. He's got 2 goals with his left foot and right foot, so he's a player that can play box to box, but also as an advanced kind of midfielder. So I'm just thinking the fact we've not got a natural kind of right-sided player, and I know we've flung players in there and they've done a job, Sterling example, but I think in terms of what's at stake, it'd be nice to see McKinney start, and I would start him, but I think in the manager's process, I think you could mix it up and go that kind of 4-3-2-1 just to allow a bit more through the middle play, which Benfica didn't seem to have a lot of closing down. There was a lot of space in the middle of the park. You mentioned it earlier that Lawrence was getting into these positions, so if we can have the ball in the middle and break the lines and get in behind, and hopefully Dessers can put 1 or 2 by and get us through.
Hopefully, mate. That's what I'm saying. We're needing big Dessers. The boy's a bit of an enigma, but we're needing him. This run in, and especially this game on Thursday, we're needing the big man to show his kind of best qualities.
Yeah, gone a little bit. Just quiet last few games, obviously, hasn't he? Just not quite gone for him. So hopefully, as you say, Thursday's the night where he kind of shows up and gets half a chance and can take it. To be fair, hasn't really in the games had many chances either. Was unlucky, that one in the first half. He'd done well to win the ball and against Hibs, and then done a nice chop back. Unlucky of the finish, but let's see the real Betis Dessers on Thursday night, and we won't be far off going through.
Sure, that's probably my only criticism of the last week's game is that Dessers ran about the park like they did his business. He put in a shift in that, but I felt the service to him. Granted, he's got to try and make his own chances as well, but I felt the service to him in that first half of last week's game was kind of non-existent. And I think if we're going to play Dessers, we need to try and feed the guy. I mean, he's one of these guys that if you get the ball out of him, he does that kind of trickery, and then really it's down to him at that kind of last moment to either bury the ball or he does his kind of panic and miss it. But again, I think we need to create for him to actually have the chances there.
Aye, I mean, he's got some really good points about him. I mean, if you look at the game the other night there, he chopped in, but he narrowed his angle right down to about a ball width, if you like, to get through. And Marshall was always, I mean, I never said the other thing. It's a width of a ball, if you like, to get through between Marshall and the goal, if you came what I mean. If he'd cut the ball across goal, I can't remember if it was Lawrence that was sort of waiting there for it. But he doesn't look at that kind of thing. He's just maybe a typical striker. He just wants to get a goal. But you're right, going back to Benfica, he runs about a lot. But I think we were in midfield until we got to grips with it a bit. We're kind of under the cosh a bit. They were pinging the ball about. A lot of great football players there, by the way. Was it Nunez or something? I can't mind the boy's name. Number 10. Superb wee player. Di Maria, 36-year-old, still a good player. Tricky player, like. So they had a lot of these players until we got to really grips with that and maybe changed the formation a wee bit. It kind of looked a bit better. I heard one of the guys saying about Raskin. I wouldn't sort of say no to that either. If you look at Raskin, probably the only header he's ever had into a goal was kind of at the latter stages. You go into the box and he had a header on target. And I thought, Christ, what's he doing up there? But we only had 9 men at the time. But I think we kind of got not overran in midfield, but they were schooling the ball about in midfield a bit. We need to sort of counteract that a wee bit and just sort of, as you say, play Dessers and Silva coming in a wee bit to help him because he's on his own too much. But I think we sat back, allowing them the ball to a certain level and try to hit them on the break. So I think it'll be much of a muchness. Dessers will run his cell into the ground, maybe give Roofe 25 minutes this time to try and make that elusive goal. We'll just have to wait and see. But no matter what, we've never second-guessed Clement yet, and I'm sure with time, that's what makes it that exciting. You didn't care what was going to happen. You didn't care how he was going to play it. McKinnon come on, I would be delighted. That would help Dessers as well with his energy. You know what I mean? That wee combination. You just don't know. We just don't know. The unknown, that's what football's all about, man. It's great.
No, again, it's exciting times for the club, and And Robert, I mean, the confidence tonight in the chat and stuff like that, we're beaming, we're talking about our players, we're talking about how good they are, but we need to really be mindful. We can't write this Benfica team off, as much as I know that they have their troubles with their manager and that, but some fantastic players in amongst that squad that can hurt you in a moment, can't they?
There is, and Stuart mentioned a few there, to name a few. The boy Neves, young prospect, young promising player. Di Maria is the experienced head. You've got Otamendi at the back. There's a mistake in him. He's probably got a red card in him as well, but again, he's that experienced head. Rafa Silva was one that we had to watch midweek last week as well. He was picking up a lot of positions, so that's why I would kind of flood the midfield, as Stuart says, and have that controlled possession, particularly at home. And as I said, the game effectively is 0-0, so you've got 90 plus minutes to go and win the game. And if it goes into extra time, I don't think many of the players will want it, but I'm confident that we've got the quality to put Benfica away and get into the next round, and then the focus obviously turns back to the league game. But as I said, there's certainly a lot of exciting times ahead, and as Brisman says, it's the biggest game of the season, particularly in Europe, but we're going to have big games to come as we get through, and hopefully that's what happens. We get through, and it might be a burden to some, but others will thrive on this in exciting times. And as a fan, you want nothing more than being involved in the later stages of competitions.
Aye, JM, you'd think the powers that be in our Scottish game would be trying to promote Rangers, considering that we're on the verge of another quarter-final in Europe. The press is very quiet. Our own folk that run our game are very quiet. You'd think they would be wanting to come out and back the team big time and try and promote our game, especially how we're, as Stuart's touched on tonight. I mean, it's amazing how we are competing at this level, considering all the stuff that we've got to overcome with budgets, try to find players, new manager, the lot, and yet we're still there fighting.
Yeah, it's incredible, really, to keep that on a consistent basis and just about, keeping the Scottish coefficient sort of treading water, if you will, just about staying there. But no, I look forward to the traditional about 2 hours before kick-off, the good luck tweet from the SPL. Always a nice touch. You can tell it's always done with great meaning as well.
Well said. Stuart, you've been a fantastic caller tonight, mate. Thank you very much for the contribution. I would just like your final thoughts on the up-and-coming game on Thursday, and anything else you want to add to the show, mate, before you go.
Aye, no, it's been good. Thanks for taking my call, guys. The game last week, although Benfica had, I don't know what the possession stats was, 60-40 for the game, I can't remember. It was quite high, but I never ever felt that they could score with open play. They were kind of pinging the ball, we were defending really well. The only thing that gave me the fear, to be honest with you, was Di Maria's corners. I mean, God almighty, you were sitting there thinking, how hard they can hit that ball and accurate to that front post. And his free kicks, kind of way he floats them in, and he's just got that cultured left foot. I wish we could get a few corners. We've got the guys here. Tav could sort of do a corner like that, but he could do it for the right side, he could do it for the left side. He's just got, and that's what worries me a wee bit, kind of set pieces. We'll just take to see how it goes. Block the midfield up, get a goal. See, it's maybe 2 goals. I think if we get 1, we'll get 2. I'm quite confident that we'll go any more than 90 minutes, obviously. And I'm looking forward to it, guys. Look, I love you and leave you in. I'll let you just finish up. I'm going to take this Doug for a wee quick one. I'll catch up with you later, okay?
Yep, mate. And what it says, please call in again, mate. Hopefully we'll hear from you soon, all right?
Aye, but I usually call in once a week or whatever, wherever I am. But I'll give you a shout, guys. Thanks for taking me on anyway. Cheers.
Right, enjoy Thursday, mate. Take care.
Cheers, then. Bye.
Fantastic call there, Robert. It's all about the input of the fans. That's what makes the show. It's getting these points across. It's good to listen to us sometimes, but having a good caller come in and make some great points. It does make the show, Robert.
It does, mate, and there is no show without, obviously, for us it's the Techie Boys, but as much as the Techie Boys is, the callers make the show. So it is always good to hear the points and views, and it's amazing that one game of football can have millions of views and thoughts and feelings about it. So it is always good to hear from them. And don't be shy. I was a caller myself once. I phoned in one night after the game, and here I am 2 years later, listening and talking probably rubbish, but I'm here anyway.
Nah, not at all, mate. Not at all. Done brilliant tonight. Well done. JM, your final thoughts, bud?
Yeah, no, well done, guys. It was good. Always hard in between the games. Good to have Stuart on and have his thoughts. Always good to have a caller. Just want tomorrow out the way and get Thursday out the way. Earlier start on Thursday, so I won't have too long to wait. But just looking forward to the game and excited for it.
Well said, mate. Robert, your final thoughts, mate?
Yep, just echo what JM says. Get Wednesday one done with and get the battle fever on for Thursday. Finish work and there we go, right into football mode and cheer the Gers on and hopefully a famous victory at Ibrox and another great European night.
I'm sure there'll be a few folk flying out to work on Thursday to burn rubber to get up the road in time for this game. And like I says, travel safely, Bears. Like I says, get to the game safe and get back home safe. Big thanks to Stuart tonight for his call. Like I says, made the show with his points. Well done, Stuart. Big thanks to you boys tonight, Robert and JM. Just like I says, great partnership and great points, lads. Big thanks to the techie team in the background, Fox and Old School Blue. This has been Rangers Radio. We'll be back tomorrow night where you'll be joined by Big Southside and Stevie and then one and only Oxdear. Thanks again. This has been Rangers Radio. Good night.